welcome to the channel and thank you for clicking on this video. This one is going to be different because in this video we are not showing anything new. We're not giving necessarily updates on any of the animals, but we are going to look at the past year of our life. We live on 19.5 acres. We do have some trees back here. Those are on our property. We have several trees actually, and we have some trees scattered throughout, but mostly it is pasture land with some cows.
For you to fully understand where we are in our journey, I feel like I need to give you some backstory. In September of 2021, we closed on a house. We moved from our house on 10 wooded acres to this house on 19.5 acres. The house itself needed a lot of work. It sat vacant for 3 to 4 years before we purchased it, and it looked like it needed a total remodel prior to the previous occupants moving out. So the first thing that we did was come in and tear everything out. We came in and took the paneling down off the walls. We took up the flooring, the tile, the carpet. We even took up the subfloor, which for some reason they used particle board. And we spent several days just taking everything out and tearing everything down.
Loose here on the floor. As far as the kitchen goes, we haven't done in there yet. That'll be next. But the guys are cleaning this up and hauling it out to the dumpster.
After we'd done everything we knew how to do in the house, which was pretty much just demolition, we hired a guy to come in and put the plywood down to replace the particle board that we had taken up. Now the heat and air unit on the house didn't work at all, and it was too old and wasn't worth fixing. So we put in a wood burning stove, and then in November of 2021 we moved in. We put all of the boxes in the garage and only brought inside the house the things that we absolutely needed. And that's how we've lived for the past year. After getting everything over here and getting moved in, it was November, so there was still plenty of warm weather, and we turned our focus to working on the outside. And now the outside was just as neglected as the inside, so there was plenty to keep us busy. There was a lot of overgrowth that needed to be taken out. Trees by the shop that needed to be cut down, and around the fence lines, and even around the propane tank was just, you couldn't see the propane tank until we got in there with saws and weed eaters and cleared it out.
Oh my gosh, look at this. We can see through here and we can walk through here.
And there was a lot of trash, a lot of hay bale wrap everywhere. Even to this day, we are still cleaning up trash out there, and we've been here a year.
They brought us a new dumpster last night, so I want to get as much of this stuff out as we can. There's a lot of trash left behind.
This house came with a very nice shop. It was a mess. It was filthy. There were old tools and stuff left behind. Most of it we just either gave away or threw away. Some of it we kept, not very much. There was a lot of animals that were living in the shop, a lot of feces of different kinds of huge rats in there. Greg and his friend Hunter got in and cleaned that out. But of course now it is cluttered with our stuff. It's not, everything is not organized. It is not neat by any means. We just throw things down as we come through there. But it doesn't have the nastiness that it had before. Let me see that. What is that? Yeah. No. What is that? Nothing.
It's a pin for a trailer.
Yeah.
Rattlesnake.
You thought what was a rattlesnake?
I thought a rattle. I just. Well, if it was a rattlesnake, it would be this.
With this new shop, we decided we needed a couple of barn cats. So we got 2.
I'm gonna name this one, and Mom's gonna name the other. In the comments below, leave some ideas for this little guy.
Shadow and his brother Shade, and they were fun to watch. Unfortunately, one of our first losses here at the new location was that Shadow got bobcat fever from a tick, and we had to have him put down. You could tell that Shade was missing his brother. He was noticeably sad, lonely. You could tell that he was looking for him. And so we got him another kitten in hopes that would be a new friend for him. And it was. This is Axel, and they're best buddies now. One of the things that we hadn't considered was the difference in the types of predators that we would have at this new location as opposed to the one we just moved from. The trees at the other location provided some protection from predators, from hawks and vultures. We did have an owl one time come in, and but it didn't stay long. We also had a fox one time, and we took care of that problem when we got Caleb. The fox never came back after we got Caleb. But other than that, we had some raccoons come up, but they were mostly eating the dog food. They weren't eating the chickens. The predator pressure is so much more than what was at the other location. And the birds that we brought over, and when we came over, we bought new birds. We got a bunch of pullets and put them with our flock, and we lost almost every one of them to predators, to raccoons. Coyotes are real bad out here. The overhead predators, there's more of them that you can. I don't know that they've gotten any of our birds, but there are definitely, we see more hawks, we see more of the vultures, and there's just no protection from them out here. Greg took a bird up front. I'm back here waiting on him. Of course, that one is pretty beat up, but you can see that rooster's been beat up. Look at her tail feathers. And so that is what caused us to start working on the chicken coop and chicken run. We've never built anything like this before. We're not builders. We're not experienced at building anything. If you look at the stuff that we build, it's usually wood pallets, tin roof, and plywood to block the wind. So we don't know how to build, and there are many things that we could have done differently with this chicken coop and chicken run had we known what we were doing. But we haven't lost any birds due to predators since we've built this. We eventually got some more birds and some turkeys. And it was actually the first time we had ordered birds from a hatchery that come to us in the mail. So that was cool. That was a neat experience to have chicks come to you in the mail. One of the other things that I really wanted and never could have at the other property was cattle. With all the trees at the other property, there wasn't really any grass to speak of, and so it wasn't, you couldn't, without feeding hay year round, feed cattle. And believe me, I tried. We had 2 Jersey cross steers for a very short time. It didn't take me long at all to figure out that is not how I wanted to do that. But when we got here in early spring, I purchased 2 Dexter heifers, or at least that's what they were supposed to be. They were supposed to be 8 to 10 months old, and I paid the people that had them, I paid them to transport them because I don't have a trailer. I didn't know anything about cattle and still don't. But when they got them to me, I noticed one of them had, her horns were quite a bit bigger than the other one, but I didn't really think anything about it because I didn't know. They said 8 to 10 months old. I didn't know how fast or how slow the horns grew. I didn't really put much thought into it. And the guy told me the bull got out once and got with the one with the bigger horns, and she's probably bred. And he said, so you'll probably end up with a free calf. Well, a week after he dropped them off, that one went into labor. And so I don't know a whole lot about cattle. Common sense can tell me that they're not born able to breed. So I don't know how old that cow was, but she was a lot older than what they told me. She won't let you do that unless she's eating. But she went into labor, and she didn't make it. The calf didn't make it. She didn't make it. The calf, when I got home from work, not knowing that she was that close to delivering, I was at work and I came home and she had, the head was out and it was already dead. And we took her to the vet, and the vet pulled the calf, and then the next day she died. It was very disappointing. It was very hard time to share that on YouTube and to just to go through that experience, the financial loss, the disappointment. Of course, there was a little bit of hurt pride involved in it. So now I was down to one heifer. She's by herself. She was not happy about that. So shortly after I lost that cow and calf, a friend of mine was telling me that she wanted to get into Dexters, and so we decided that we would look for Dexters, and she could get a couple and bring them out to my house. And because they didn't have, they had too many animals on their land and didn't have the grass, didn't have the space for them, and so they would transport for me and help me with transport, and obviously help me with feeding, during the winter when we needed hay and stuff, and whatever we needed, we would have to split the cost. But they would get a couple of cows and transport one for me, and I ended up with a steer. So that left me with a heifer and a steer, and then they ended up getting a bull, and it took a little bit of convincing to get me to let them bring the bull over, but he's a good bull. That dirt right, Jake, have you been in my dirt? That dirt is right there. That's mine. You leave it alone. So he was able to breed with my heifer. So hopefully that will give me another calf in the spring with no problems. Crossing our fingers on that one. Honestly, I don't know the long-term goals that we have for the cows, like I have for my cows and she has for hers, as far as them being out here and what I'm going to do with mine, if I'm going to get any more or what. But that'll be something that we will be looking into and talking about more this year. Since I had more land, I had to, of course, buy some more goats. I bought a buck because I couldn't resist, and my friend, the one with the cows, had a La Mancha, and she used one of my bucks to breed her La Mancha. Well, her La Mancha had twins, two doelings that looked like the La Mancha. They were mini La Manchas, and so she gave one of them to me, and she kept one. And my does had already been bred, most of them, before we even moved over here. They were bred, and they began to have babies, and I had a whole bunch of goats this year. Had plenty of grass, plenty of water, plenty of sunshine, and everything seemed to be going okay until summer hit, and it quit raining, and it got really hot. I mean, really hot and dry for a long time. And grasshoppers were all over the place, all over trees, fence posts, everywhere. But I wasn't about to let my chickens out of the chicken run. As the drought went on, people were concerned about getting hay for the winter. I was getting concerned about getting hay for the summer because the grass was so dry. And I didn't know how long it would be before we needed to start feeding hay. And so I decided to start selling some of my goats. I sold all but 2 of the babies, and I sold a buck that I had, and 3 of my does. And I did it kind of out of fear because of the drought. I had never seen anything, or I have never noticed anything like that. Like in my life, maybe it happened, but I wasn't in a position where I needed to pay attention to the weather and the weather cycles. So it scared me, and I thought it best to sell some, just to make sure that I would have enough for the ones that were under my care. Another addition that we got to the homestead was Tucker, a puppy, a livestock guardian dog. And I got him with the intentions of putting him with Caleb. The coyote population is so large here. I felt like Caleb would do better with a partner. Unfortunately, Caleb didn't feel the same way about Tucker as I thought he might. As a matter of fact, Caleb didn't want anything to do with Tucker and didn't want Tucker out there with his goats or around him at all. The good thing is that I still have the bucks. I can put a dog with the bucks and a dog with the does. They can see each other. They're fairly close. It would be 2 dogs barking. I don't think the coyotes are going to come up to that. Tucker is 11 months old, so I'm only letting him out with the goats when I'm at home and can watch him. Although I didn't get as much done in the last year that I thought I would, especially on the inside of the house. I feel like we've gotten a lot accomplished, and we've learned a lot this year. The experiences that we had, like with the drought and with losing the cow and the predator pressure and having to make adjustments. Every time we turned around, there was something new, and we had to learn from it and make adjustments. You know, not get into the routine, but do things based on what's going on around us, based on the weather and how the animals are responding. And I'm pleased with how this year has gone. And I expect that the following year will be even better because of the experiences, the first year, because of the losses and the difficulties we had this last year. I think this year coming up is going to be even better. Okay, this is Buddy. This is the puppy we got from Cassie and Gary at Walker Farm Fam. He is getting huge, and he's also a pain. So Dad went out and got him a sister. Greg, show them Buddy's sister. This is Anna. She is half Great Pyrenees and half German Shepherd. Go ahead and let them play. Let's see what they do.
No biting my pants, please.
Don't let her jump on you, though. Get that paper. I had to bring Greg out here because I can't film them. They keep coming up to me.
Your sister is getting on me. Ow.